Hello and welcome to the fifth and final stress tip for International Stress Awareness Week. Now, arguably, I've left the most important tip till last because one of the main causes of stress in our lives is the sheer amount of things that we have on our plate. Work is no longer a 9 to 5 prospect, especially at the moment. We are living in a 24/7 culture and we are working more than ever. Add to that, we have pressure to look after ourselves and our bodies with nutrition. We have to look after children, parents, other dependents. We have all of these things together that give us a million things to do. I want to ask you, how many of you start the day with a mammoth to-do list with all of these things on there and actually run around like headless chickens from one thing to another thing to another thing, not actually finishing anything but making a little bit of progress in each? And you get to the end of the day and you look at your to-do list and think, my God, I haven't actually done anything, but I haven't stopped all day. How many of you have ever experienced that? I certainly have. And it's because you don't get that gratification, do you, from striking something off your to-do list in a black marker, so you think that you haven't actually done anything, but you have. But the problem is that we're not focusing on one thing at a time. And it's because we're not focusing on that one thing that nothing is ever getting done to completion. So today, I want to invite you to try and focus on one thing at a time. And in order to help you to do that, I have created the Prioritise Your To-Do List Planner. Now, this planner is based on Stephen Covey's urgent and important model from his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the basically way it works is that you separate your to-do list into 4 separate quadrants. Anything that is urgent and important is on your A list. These should be actioned immediately. Anything that is important but it's not quite as urgent, these are tasks that should be pushed back, and these are your B list. And then we get left with the bottom half. Now, anything that is urgent but it's not very important, you have a choice. These are your C actions. You can either choose to do these, but beware and do them at your peril because these are the time-wasting tasks, or you can choose to delegate them. The whole point is if they're not important to you, but they're urgent, it usually means they're important to somebody else. And it's up to you whether or not you want to prioritise what other people want you to do over and above what you have to do. And yes, sometimes that does mean saying no to your boss, but explaining why it's a no. And finally, in the last quadrant, if something isn't important and it isn't urgent, these should be disregarded. These are the nice to haves. These shouldn't even be on your list, so take them off straight away. The purposes of this planner is to do your A actions first, one at a time, then move on to your B actions, the ones that you've pushed back and scheduled into your calendar, and then the C and D ones, really, you want to try and get rid of as many of those as possible. Thank you for joining me this week. I really hope that you have found my stress tips useful, and you can access any of these tips on my YouTube channel or follow me on any of these social media handles. Thank you for listening.